Okay, hello once again. Let us continue our discussion. We have already talked about the constitutional mandate or the order for us to study the Constitution. And then we also talked about the nature of politics and the political science and the two approaches used in the study of political science. Now let us go to the scope of political science. What are its coverages? We have political theory, public law, public administration, political organization, and other subfields. Okay, we will cover that in this discussion. The first one, political theory. It deals with the entire body of doctrines relating to the origin, form, behavior, and purposes of the state. If you will notice, the people that we have here, you have here Socrates, you have Plato here, you have Aristotle, Machiavelli, and then you have Immanuel Kant. These are the people, just some of the people who gave a theory on the different aspects of politics. Like, for example, the origin. Some of them would talk about what is the origin of the government or what is the origin of the state, where did it come from? And then you have the forms. Now, what form of government is important? Should it be parliamentary? Should it be presidential? Should it be unitary? Should it be federalism? What about the behavior? The behavior of the state, should it be democratic? Should it be communistic or socialist or authoritative or fascist? So, and then we also have the purposes of the state. What is the real reason why is the state formed? Is it for the people or is it for the state, basically? So we have a lot of that talking about the reason why, and they have been followed by a lot of the leaders and has shaped also the history of that country that follows certain theories. So that's how important it is. And then we also have the next one, public law. In the case of public law, it deals with the organization of government, the limitations upon government authority, the powers and duties of the government, the obligations of one state to another. So when we talk about public law, it literally means law dealing with the government, anything that is in public. So in the case of public law, it will cover maybe the three branches of the government that we have here. You have the judiciary, who has the power to make judgments on law, and then you have the executive government, the power to put law into action, they execute it, and then you have the parliament or Congress, now the power to make and change the law. So they have the power to do that, but they also have limitations. That's why in the case of the separation of powers, um, the judiciary will be limited by the power of executive government, and the executive government will also be limited by the power given to the Congress, and so on and so forth. So all of them limit each other. That's how the separation of powers work. That's for the letter B. And then public law will also talk about what would be the primary duty of the parliament. And we already said that it has the primary duty is to change or to make the law. And then for the judiciary, its primary task is to make judgment, to interpret what the law means. And for the executive department, its primary function is to put law into action or to execute that law. Now, we will also talk about here, our public law also covers the obligations of one state to another. How does one government deal with another government? So we're talking here of interstate. So how does Philippines deal with China? How does Philippines deal with the US? How does Philippines deal with Israel? So that is what it is talking about. So they are all covered under the public law. Now, the next one is also very interesting, public administration. It deals with the methods and techniques used in the actual management of state affairs by the executive, legislative, and the judicial branches of the government. So in this case, a lot of aspiring politicians, when they go to politics, if they don't have an experience yet, especially if they are from another non-political course, like probably they were actors or they were boxers, so they would now have a crash course on public administration Why? Because this one teaches them the actual management. So it gives them a practice of how they are supposed to manage and how they are supposed to administer the government, public administration. So it trains government officials. So that is what is the scope of public administration. And then we have the political organization as well. It is any organization or group that is concerned or involved in the political process. So it can be the political parties, it can be the NGOs, for as long as NGO has something to do with politics. So we have a lot of that. We have a lot of different political organization. And then the other subfields that we have here, we have the constitutional law, comparative government, political behavior, political economy, and urban politics. And this is where we are going to end. In the case of constitutional law, I think this one is very obvious. The coverage would be, of course, the Constitution. And by the way, constitutional law is the highest law of the land. The Constitution is the highest law of the land. So whatever it is that the Constitution will have to be followed by the other laws. What are the other laws that we have? As mentioned earlier, we have the public law. We also have the private law. We have the law made by the president. We have the law made by Congress. All these have to follow the what is written in the Constitution. And who wrote the Constitution? It's the Filipino people. So we are the makers of the highest law of the land. And then comparative government, by its name alone, we know that we are comparing different forms of government. And this is also very important now because we are in the process of, or at least there are people who are pushing for a change in the form of government that we have. So we will compare what is a better form of government. Is this one better or that other one? And then we also have the political behavior. How is the culture in that politics, or how is the culture in that power struggle? Like you have the patronage system there. And then in the political economy, concentrating here now on the economy, how does politics play into the limited resources that we have? What should be the law? Should it limit the power of the or the freedom of the businessmen, or should the government take over the businesses of these businessmen? And then the last, we have the urban politics. Urban politics here covers politicking basically or specifically within urban setting. So the concentration is in urban setting and not on the rural side. So here you are talking of the politics of the city. And this one is also crucial because most of the people, most of the things that are happening within the state, they are found in the city. Okay, so that's it for the scope of political science. These are the different fields that will be covered by political science. We already know the nature, we already know the approaches, and we have also learned here in this part the different aspects that is covered by political science. Okay, I will see you on the third part.